The White House is criticizing a decision from a major international energy alliance to cut oil production by more than 2 million barrels a day. In a statement yesterday, the Biden administration accused the OPEC Plus group of making a, quote, short-sighted move that would have the most negative impact on the lower and middle-income countries. Earlier in the day, OPEC announced the largest cut in oil production since the start of the pandemic, citing, quote, uncertainty that surrounds the global economic and oil market outlooks. Let's bring in White House reporter for Politico and Morning Joe, senior contributor Eugene Daniels, and co-anchor of CNBC's Squawk Box, Andrew Ross Sorkin. I guess, Eugene, I'll start with you and make sure there isn't any more to the White House reaction to this, any ability to react beyond words.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there is a sense of betrayal within this White House, Mika, when you talk to officials here, because of the president's trip to Saudi Arabia, right? That is where they're kind of zeroing in on most of their anger. And, you know, you talk to Democrats on the Hill, there's going to be a lot of pressure coming at this White House to do more to kind of restructure this relationship with Saudi Arabia. I talked to Congressman Malinowski last night, who has already released bill text that would force the removal of all U.S. troops and missile defense systems from Saudi and the UAE. He said the U.S. has to stop acting like suckers in this relationship. His quote, Senator Richard Blumenthal also saying that the United States should look at considering cuts in military assistance. And when I talked to a White House official here last night, they said at this point, everything is on the table when it comes to the relationship with Saudi Arabia. But it also sounds like they're going to follow the lead of Congress as they move through this process. In the immediate term, though, when you're talking about possible rising gas prices, President Biden has already, they've already said that they're going to release millions more, 10 million gallons more from the petroleum reserve, and possibly do more if that's necessary. That's something that I was promised by White House officials last night. But also keep the pressure on oil and gas companies to not raise their prices, because they know both on a policy level that's bad for America, but we're very close to an election, and they know that Republicans have already started to seize on this issue once again, when they thought they'd put on the back burner. And so it is going to be interesting to see how that we move forward and whether that relationship changes. A lot of this is about leverage. If America is able to put enough leverage on Saudi Arabia and these other OPEC plus countries, what happens next? Can they backpedal? That was something that Richard Blumenthal stressed quite a bit last night.
All right, Eugene Daniels, thank you so much. And Andrew Ross Sorkin, I've got to say, when you look at the risk politically that Joe Biden made to reach out to MBS, right. It's pretty shocking. I even talking to officials in the Middle East, they're telling me this doesn't make sense, that Biden had offered them a reasonable compromise, and to do this is a slap in the face to Joe Biden, especially since you have oil already at $90 today. It really is pretty extraordinary. This guy, I guess he's counting on a second Donald Trump term.
It is fascinating because it's both political and economic. In the worst case, you say that the Saudis have clearly aligned themselves with the Russians and effectively are willing to effectively help them over the United States. I think that's how a lot of people are viewing this. If you were to talk to the folks in Saudi or part of OPEC, they would say, look at where the economy is, not just in the United States, but globally. It's only going to get worse. And the reason that we are going to cut back here is because we think that actually there's going to be less demand in the future. That's the economic argument. In the meantime, as you know, prices are going to go up. The estimates right now are about 15 to 30 cents a gallon. That is a billboard across America.
Andrew, do you mind if I interrupt? And you were just about to go there partially, but I mean, let's just talk about it. Jared Kushner had extraordinarily close ties with MBS. MBS and the Saudis had close ties with Donald Trump. It's quite clear they preferred Trump to Joe Biden. And again, I do hear the arguments, and I'm a big believer that countries should do what's in their best interest. But come on, you're right. Come on. He knows This is interfering with U.S. politics to do this a month before a midterm election. When, again, it's already at $90 a barrel. That doesn't even make sense to people that are looking at this in the Middle East.
No, there's no question that this is going to raise all sorts of questions about what happens to our politics here, the midterms. This idea is true. There's going to be a billboard, by the way, across the country at every gas station about what inflation looks like, because you're going to start to see the price go up. I think 15 to 30 cents per gallon higher. That is what we're looking at. That's what most of the analysts are estimating. So clearly, if you are sitting in Saudi Arabia today and you make this decision, you know that. You know going in politically that is what you are doing. And to the extent that there was any kind of better relations, we talk about sort of fist bump diplomacy, that's out the window. That effectively created the addition of about $750 million barrels, rather, I should say, at the time, but has gone away now and has reversed. And there's no question that they made that decision. But then, as I said, there is this economic argument, which is that the economy around the world is going to get a lot tougher. And that's at least this, you could call it a smokescreen politically, or you could call it real, but that's the argument they're making. So,
Andrew, I don't get it, though. I mean, they're betting on the wrong horse. They just are. The dollar is stronger than it's ever been. I know you agree with me. I'm just saying this to our friends who watch this show. They're betting on the wrong horse. The U.S. dollar is stronger than it's been in 50 years. You've got the U.S. economy. Its relative strength to the rest of the world stronger than it's been since 1945. Militarily, relative strength to the rest of the world greater than it's ever been. And I just, again, you've got Russia that's collapsing in front of all of our eyes. You've got China engaging in acts of political self-harm every day. It makes no sense geopolitically. I guess that's what's baffling me. Do you get any insights? Have you gotten any insight on why they made this move when they did, when they're betting on the wrong horse?
Well, and this is now I'm going to go economic on you, which is, you're right. Politically, it makes no sense. I cannot explain it. There's a word for this. It's called inexplicable. That's the technical term. From a political standpoint, that's why I've been reverting to this idea of maybe there is an economic argument, and I could at least rationalize the economic argument, which is to say, if you believe that the economy, global economy, is faltering and there's going to be a lot less demand in the next month, 2, and 3, that's going to put pressure on their countries. I get that. But again, the timing of it, and given the political machinations and the midterms coming up, seems like a big decision to make, and the political implications and potential economic implications, depending on how you think Congress and the U.S. government respond, could be meaningful. Maybe what they're doing is betting that they have more leverage in that political debate than we do.
All right, CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin, thank you very much for being on this morning.